Good morning, everyone. It's 9 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. The agenda is in front of you and also was included in your package. Any amendments, additions, deletions to the agenda? Seeing none, looking for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Karen.
That the August 12th, 2025 agenda be adopted as presented.
Thank you. Look, again, with the agenda that's been adopted, looking for any declaration of conflict of interest. Seeing none. Okay. This morning we have 4 delegations that we'll be going through after we do the credit card payment report. So approximately 15 minutes, we'll start with the delegations. And so we're down to the meeting minutes of July 22nd, 2025. Again, those meeting minutes were in your package. Any amendments, errors to the minutes to be noted? Seeing none, looking for a motion to accept the minutes of the July 22nd as approved. Darren.
That the minutes of the regular meeting held on July 22nd, 2025 be approved as circulated and presented.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, Sarah, we're down to the list of counts.
So check 5486 to the Minister of Finance. This is for our 2025 annual RCMP fees. Just to note that this is increased from $264,000 in 2024. And then the proposed EFT payment section, proposed payment to Prairie Land sweeping and line painting. I'll just note that the total $40,000 for line painting is within the budget of $43,000 for 2025. And payment to Western Infrastructure Renewal for 2025 bridge improvements. This is within the total bridge repairs and bridge capital improvements budget totaling $97,000. And then on the visa report, on the office fees, I'll just point out that the annual subscription to GoDaddy is for our website domain, and the I Am Responding is an annual fee related to the fire hall.
Just for clarification, that I Am Responding one is for the EMO, and yeah, it's a new program that we've started, so that that if there's a reason that the EMO has to be activated, we can get a hold of everybody on the call out sheets a lot quicker. And the nice thing with this program, it also will tell who's going to be responding, how long it's going to take for them to get there, with online or GPS on all the phones and stuff that are registered to this. Responding app is for the emergency measures organization that is part of our RM, and it'll allow the people that are responding to an emergency that they can see when they're going to be coming and who's going to be responding to it.
Thank you, Tim. Any other question on the list of accounts or the credit card payments?
I have a quick question. For the windscreen, we had to purchase a new windscreen from, I believe it was winter damage from mice, and I'm just wanting to just clarify and make sure that we have something to store the windscreen in this fall or this winter so that nothing eats the windscreen again. Is that in place?
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you, Nicole. Any other sorry?
Just a quick question for Sarah. The check 5482 to Information Services Corporation, is that a monthly fee, and just sort of what the general nature is of that?
Yeah, that's for our ISC fees. The amount fluctuates month to month. This is definitely a higher one. It just depends on the number of titles that are pulled in the month. So this was a higher fee.
Any other questions for Sarah on the list of accounts or the visa statement? Okay. Looking for a motion to accept the list of accounts as presented. Tim,
That the list of accounts consisting of check number 5471 to 5500, EFT payments number 239 to 242, other payments number 217 to 236, credit card payment number 20, proposed EFT payments totaling $722,888.72 plus July 13th to 26/20/25 payroll totaling $60,211.82 be approved for payment.
thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, we're down to delegations, a lot quicker than I thought. It's only 9:05. So we'll go in the order that on the agenda. So Mr. Kuzmic is first. If you could just, as you step up to the middle there, and Sarah will show you how to run the mic. And then questions afterward. Just turn on the mic there, Mr. Kuzmic. There you go. So each delegation has 10 minutes to present, and then questions afterward.
We had a lengthy presentation to make, but I think I'm going to cut this pretty short. We're here to support Councillor Poisson. We understand that there has been a motion to remove her. Now, we don't know. I've asked the office to give me a copy of the motion. You did, Karen, you didn't have a copy of the motion. So I'm really not sure what I'm speaking to because I haven't seen the motion. Do you have a motion on file that affects our councillor, Councillor Poisson?
No motion has been made at this point, Mr. Kuzmic.
Pardon?
No motion has been made at this point.
So why do you have something that says there is a motion has been paused? What does that mean?
There was a notice for that a motion was going to be made on it. However, that notice of intention to present a motion has been withdrawn.
Withdrawn?
Correct.
Or paused?
Paused.
What does that mean, paused?
It means that it's not going forward at this time.
So when do you anticipate it to come forward? Because I would like to speak to the motion and it's coming at the harvest time. Is this a deliberate effort to not have that motion?
No, that's not correct.
Well, it's a difficult one to understand, Mr. Chairman. It's paused and I haven't seen the motion, and Karen doesn't have a copy of the motion. Do you have a copy of the motion?
No, I do not. The motion has not been put forward on it, so there is no copy to be had. Individual councillors are not required to put a motion in writing prior to them presenting it. But this motion is not being presented at this meeting on it, and or in the near future or foreseeable future.
So you still haven't answered my question. Is it going to proceed or isn't it? Is there something hanging over there relative to this motion? This is a very difficult thing for me to understand. Somebody says they're going to maybe make a motion, but they're not making the motion. I've asked for a copy of the motion. I can't get a copy of the motion, and now it is paused. In terms of quorum, in terms of procedure, this doesn't seem to be a very common thing. I'm not familiar with it anyways.
No, it's not very common at all, Mr. Kuzmic.
But it's common in this council.
No, it is not.
But you have a hard time describing it because I still can't understand it. Is it out there? Is that motion out there, whatever that motion is? So if I go away and drive on my combine, all of a sudden that motion could come up without a proper notice or something? I don't understand that.
No, that there would be, if any time there's going to be a motion like you're speaking of, there would be notification. It would be on the agenda that it was coming out.
Could I ask the individual who withdrew the motion to see what his intentions would be?
Well,
No, I mean, this affects the, we have property in 4 divisions here. And all I'm trying to do is understand what the hell is going on.
Yeah. Well, there was a decision to make a notice of motion at a meeting to give the person involved an opportunity to make arrangements to defend the motion that was going to be made. Prior to the meeting, the councillor that had stated the notice of intent to bring a motion forward has withdrawn that motion or that notion for today.
So does anyone know what that motion would have read?
No, well, only the councillor that was going to make the motion. There's no pre-written. Motions aren't pre-written by council. The individual councillor may pre-write a motion if it's lengthy on it, but as far as council receiving motions ahead of time, that does not occur.
So could I ask the councillor what his motion was going to be?
So yeah, there is no protocol for that, Mr. Kuzmic, on it. So I don't think it would be fair to ask a councillor what a motion may have been that's not being presented.
You see, what is happening here is we're a developer. We have developed 79 lots in Division 3. It is out there causing uncertainty. Right now, we have been advised that we have sold out in that division, sold out. Now we have builders coming to us and say, what the hell is going on? Is there a problem? Is somebody trying to remove a councillor that has worked hard to develop that division? So that is out there. That is a very serious concern, and it is causing us damage. I want you to be aware of that.
I'm very aware of that, Mr. Kuzmic.
I'm not so sure because I still can't get a I don't know what the motion's going to be. You don't know what the motion's going to be. Or maybe you do. So now where do we go from here?
I'm not sure what you mean, sir.
Right now, we have got a development in Division 3 that is really under significant negative pressure. It is sold out. We are representing this RM as knowing what the hell they're doing, as a good RM. We are getting feedback that people are wondering what is happening. And we don't know what is happening. We have a councillor that's under attack and we don't know how she's being attacked. So we're here to support that councillor. I don't know what else to tell you. This is a very strange, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm disappointed that I can't even get a proper answer to this. What do I do? We just go away and wait until somebody decides to bring a motion?
Well, a motion can be brought by a councillor on the topic at any time with proper notice on it. At this point, there is no motion going to be brought forward on that issue. We're working, council's working through the situation, and hopefully that we come out to a positive resolution that everybody wants, so that, like you said, that we definitely want developers to have confidence in the RM as to develop further developments.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Reeve, this is not a very positive thing towards our development or the councillor that's worked hard to develop that 79 lots. And incidentally, Stan, remember one time, I think you said, gee, you guys are doing us a favor by doing the water payment. I just asked our controller, before we even did business with you, we gave you $1.1 million to pay for the water fees. And over the next 3 years, we gave you another $1.3 million on that. So I'm thinking, you know, somewhere along the line, you guys took a check for $2.4 million. So that development has done well, and we appreciate your help in it. But right now, we're under attack, and our councillor is under attack. And we're going to do everything we can to support that councillor, because we believe we're under attack and are now receiving negative input from builders. We're sold out there. I don't know what else to tell you, Mr. Reeve. This is disturbing.
Yes, I agree.
You've got to solve it somehow.
Yes, I agree with that, Mr. Kuzmic, as well.
I don't know what else to say.
Thank you very much, sir. And next delegation is Mr. John Panter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. I have to echo, I think, a lot of what Mr. Kuzmic said. I'm not sure that I understand any better than he does, or that anybody does, just where we stand. My understanding is that there's a notice of motion that's not really on the public record. It's certainly not on the agenda for today, but there is a notice of motion on the other hand, and that notice of motion is to expel Councillor Posehn. On the other hand, that notice of motion has been paused, whatever that means, and I've got an email to that effect that it's under pause. So, you know, at least with a notice of motion, the motion can be voted up or down, or it can be withdrawn, which would be preferable. With a pause, however, the public is left in the dark, and the public, I should hasten to point out, is we're the people that are paying for all this madness. And the pause apparently would mean that we wait with bated breath until next Thursday or next April or 2028 for the pause to be lifted and the motion to be descended on us, and the madness continues. This has got to come to an end. It really does. So I wanted to get my head around all the working parts of what we're confronted with right now. So I got my crayons and a big piece of paper, and I sort of noted all the parts of the problems that are confronting us. The prime mover up here, I call it number 1, that's the complaint pursuant to your Code of Ethics bylaw against Councillor Posehn. which resulted in a trial on May the 9th that she wasn't at, mind you, according to your Code of Ethics bylaw, which found her guilty of a number of offenses, such as lingering too long at the coffee pot. However, that one has been paused. There's that word again, temporarily, while the ombudsman looks into the whole issue, the Ombudsman of Saskatchewan. So that's the first working part. Number two, Code of Ethics complaints filed by Councillor Bezbaratko against 4 councillors and the Reeve. Presumably conflict of interest. I think we're aware that it's conflict of interest. Working part number 3, notice of motion pursuant to the Municipalities Act. And I believe that one was filed by Councillor Brote against Councillor Posehn. And the import of that would be to have her expelled from council. A judge is going to throw her right back onto council, but more of that in the near future. Number 4 working part, a complaint or complaints by person or persons unknown, we don't know who they are, against Councillor Bezbaratko. And I assume all of these complaints and counter complaints and allegations are being investigated at considerable expense to the ratepayers. Now, I completed this chart and I took a look at it and I said, what does this remind me of? And then I thought, it looks like a circular firing squad. And then I drew this brilliant stick figure in the center, and this represents the ratepayers. We're paying for all of this, and we're going to be the collateral damage. So far, this whole issue has cost tens of thousands of dollars, and we're only getting started. So with that in mind, I thought there's got to be an honorable way out of this for everybody, for all of you and for all of the ratepayers. And with that in mind, I contacted your CAO, and Shauna was kind enough to agree to meet with me to hear me out. Is there an honorable way out? We sat down at my kitchen table, we poured some coffee, and I proposed what I called at the time a 3-point plan. It has since, in the last 2 weeks, metastasized into a 5-point plan, but nevertheless. And I think the plan was utterly simple. Everybody simply withdraw your complaints, your allegations, your charges, your motions, your notices of motion, withdraw them, get them off the table, leaving component number 1. The original complaint under the Code of Ethics against Councillor Posehn, which is currently in front of the Ombudsman for review. And your CAO, I believe, took that proposal to her staff, and my hat is off to them. They saw the merit of it, and I believe there's buy-in. The staff has said, why not? Let's let the Ombudsman issue some kind of a ruling or an opinion or whatever. The staff has agreed they would abide by it. Councillor Posehn has said she would abide by it. What's not to like about that? At that meeting, Your Worship, you joined the meeting around the kitchen table, and I think you bought into it. You thought that's a good idea. Everybody withdraws, and then we can all get on with our lives. So here's where we are right now. There's a notice of motion to kick Councillor Posehn off of council, but it's under the Municipalities Act. And that allows, if you can muster the votes when this pause is lifted, if you can muster the votes, yes, you could probably kick her off the council, but it's going to go to a judge that says so right in the statute. And the judge is going to say what the people have done, the people can undo. They elected her, and if they don't want her on this council, they can vote her out of office at the next election. Would that not be reasonable? There's no judge in Saskatchewan that is going to kick Councillor Posehn off of this council for the allegation that she sat in the council chamber while you debated a fairly inconsequential motion to suspend your sentence while the ombudsman reviewed it. And my recollection, sitting back there by the potted palm plant, was that she did not vote on that motion. I don't believe she took part in the discussion. Her only sin was she didn't leave the council chamber. And a judge is going to look at the actual wording of the statute, and he's going to say, if a councillor has been in breach of a conflict of interest through inadvertence or honest mistake, he's going to overturn the council and he's going to kick her right back on to the council. In the meantime, more investigations are underway at a cost of, who knows, another $11,000. Now, in the case of the allegations of conflict of interest against 4 councillors, and the allegation there was that you were witnesses in a proceeding and you sat as judge and jury in that same proceeding. A first-year law student would have told you you can't do that. A kid at a community college to get a diploma in as a paralegal would tell you you can't be a witness and you can't be a judge and jury in the same procedure. And in your case, you will not be able to plead honest mistake or inadvertence because you were warned by your own lawyer that to do so would put you in a conflict of interest. Legal advice which you apparently ignored. In the meantime, the other complaints continue, the investigations go on, and the taxpayer who is footing the bill for all of this, none of you people are paying this out of your own pockets, except possibly Councillor Posehn, who has a lawyer on speed dial. So it's costing her and it's costing us, the ratepayers. And that's why it's got to stop. On a personal note, a lot of people, you know that I come to these council meetings and I sit back there, but you don't know me very well, and that's fine. I love to write, and I've been writing predominantly on municipal issues for 30 years, including in Ontario for 3 print media publications, almost exclusively on municipal issues. And in the course of that writing career, I have attended council meetings in, conservatively speaking, 40 municipal jurisdictions. I've written hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of columns, hundreds of thousands of words, predominantly about municipal issues, unpaid, I want to point out. I do it as a community service. What I'm proudest of in that career is that in 30 years of writing, I have never missed a deadline. And I don't intend to start missing one now. To that end, I always keep a generic non-municipal issue column in the can so that if I'm stuck, I can send that one off. I can certainly do that. My preference would be to write a glowing column about this council who finally peered into the abyss but pulled back, saving the taxpayers untold amounts of money. On the other hand, if this nonsense persists, I will have to go nuclear, I will go scorched earth, and I will tell it like it is. And it won't be pretty, but it will be true. And after that column hits the press, first call I'll get probably is from Brad Brown of the Quad Town Forum. And he will say, as he has asked me in the past, pertaining to White City and to here, the RM, what in the heck is going on over at the RM of Edenwold? And I will say to him, Brad, come on over, we'll sit down at my kitchen table, I'll pour you a coffee, and I'll give you the file. I'll give him every column I've written over the last 5 or 6 months about this issue. And then I'll give him all the documents, starting with your code of ethics, which in legal terms stinks. badly written, it needs wholesale revisions or scrap it entirely and get a new one. Your code of ethics was the origin of all the problems that were here. Then I'll give them the contract with Buckingham, and incidentally, don't ever hire Buckingham again to do an investigation. The contract with Buckingham signed by your Reeve. I'll give him the Buckingham file, and it's a dandy 61 pages of allegations and conclusions. It should have been 90 pages, but there were approximately 30 pages that were missing. And what were they? Oh, the 30 missing pages were the statement of defense. Can you imagine a neighbor suing one of you people over some issue? There's a knock on the door, the bailiff is there with a writ of summons and the statement of claim, and you look at it and you say, what is this? This has nothing to do with me. I didn't do this stuff. So you prepare a 30-page statement of defense, you rush off to the courthouse, you hand it in. The court clerk says, oh, and by the way, just so you understand, you're not going to be allowed to be at the trial, but thank you for your statement of defense. So you leave. And then the court clerk takes the statement of defense and he tosses it into the circular filing cabinet, and it never appears. That is a breach of fundamental justice, and it should never have happened. And then if he's interested, I'll give him the audio recording of the infamous council meeting of September the 24th, and I'll say, listen to it and judge for yourself. Finally, I'll give him contact information, phone numbers, email addresses for all of you counselors, and say, if you don't like anything that I'm telling you, go and talk to them. And finally, I'll give him the phone number for Councillor Posehn. I'll say, go and talk to her. She's personable, she's intelligent, she's hardworking, she has the interests of the arm of Edenwold at heart. See what you think. See if, in your opinion, Brad, you think she's an evil person who ought to be turfed off of this council. And then invariably, I'll probably hear from the leader post. They've contacted me before on issues that were of importance to the community, and they got my name through my column. And they'll come out and I'll tell them the same thing. I'll pour them the coffee and I'll give them the file. And in all likelihood, there will be other media. It's not going to be pretty. You people, and I say this, and it gives me no satisfaction to saying it, you're approaching RM of Sherwood stature. 30 years of attending 40 different municipalities council meetings where there is the cut and thrust of debate. That's not a problem. But at the end of the day, you leave your differences on the council floor and you go out for a coffee. Again, it gives me no pleasure to say this. This is the most dysfunctional council I have ever encountered. I would hope that maybe you take a simple recommendation that I made. How about everybody just withdraws their complaints? If I can be of any help in an unpaid basis, you don't like me, that's fine. That may be a benefit. Talk to you people and say, how about just withdrawing? Withdraw your complaints and let's get on with our lives, doing the business of the ratepayers of the arm of Edenwold. Because otherwise, you're peering into the abyss. And is it a Saskatchewan thing? You say, hold my beer, and off you go. This has to come to an end. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Panter. Our next delegate is Mr. Martinuck.
Thanks for the opportunity. I got way better things to be doing today than coming to this council and addressing you people. I'm sure you've got better things to do than to sit here and listen to me. But I think myself and everyone behind me and all the ratepayers here are obviously not impressed with the behavior that's been going on here at council for quite some time. We're sick and tired of obviously the things John talked about, waste of ratepayer money. You guys should be talking about council building business. We pay big tax dollars for you guys to be conducting business, RM business, not squabbling amongst each other, pointing fingers, accusing each other of ridiculous accusations. As John said, this has to stop. I had a lot of things I was going to talk about, but I didn't know what John and Ben were going to talk about, so I don't want to rehash their discussion. But one thing that's always kind of bugged me is that Nicole has never had her opportunity to tell her side of the story. As John mentioned, her original rebuttal, which wasn't even to the investigative report, it was the original rebuttal to the original allegations that were filed against her. She created a 29-page rebuttal. It went MIA. It's gone. There was a audio recording, which you all are very familiar with, that John innocently recorded. It was never included anywhere. In fact, a lot of you, I think the majority of you, are refusing to even listen to it, which is ridiculous. This is your peer you're dealing with here, your peer counselor. There's evidence on the table, audio recordings that prove all of these ridiculous allegations from this infamous September 24th meeting did not occur. And yet you refuse to listen to it because you were there and apparently your memory is better than an audio recording. Ridiculous. So I only have 10 minutes, so I have to cut. I didn't realize I only had 10 minutes. So I'm going to cut this down very short, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the procedural and process issues that I find extremely offensive, because that's what it really comes down to. Was there procedural fairness in this bylaw stuff that you guys went through and this investigation? So I'm going to jump right into this September 24th meeting, some of the things that were apparently said at this meeting. The investigator called Nicole RP, the RP responding party, was very rude and ignorant, called staff a liar. The RP yelled, "I'm done with this shit." Apparently you allow swear words in council here. The RP stated the staff member should be fired. Someone wrote, "The venom and attitude of the RP towards the staff was shocking." The RP slammed the tablet on the desk. The RP had a temper tantrum. It goes on and on. It's just ridiculous. Anyhow, when I read all this stuff for the first time, I was just shocked. I'm like, was this not a council meeting where someone was presiding over this meeting, someone with a gavel? Like, if all of this stuff was really going on, why didn't you put a stop to this craziness? People slamming laptops, all this stuff. It's just ridiculous that not one person during the entire meeting spoke up and said, "You're out of line. You shouldn't be saying that stuff. You shouldn't be causing this ruckus." You want to know why nobody said anything, or you didn't bang your gavel? Because none of that stuff happened. It's obvious. It was in the audio recording. None of this stuff happened. So if none of this stuff happened, how did it get to this point? How did, when these allegations came forward 1 week after this meeting, and they were presented to Mr. Trainer there, when you read these allegations, you should have said, this didn't happen. Why did you say, oh man, yeah, we got to hire an investigator to look at this stuff? No one's been able to ever answer that question to me, because you were at the meeting, you presided over it. So why did you not read the investigation report or this allegation and say, yeah, this didn't happen. This doesn't warrant an investigation? I'm not going to answer that question, but I sure would like an answer to that question. And then you contact Mr. Trainer, you contact Nicole while we were on vacation, nevertheless, and you want to schedule a meeting at Tim Hortons to talk about this investigation. We come back from vacation. You tell Nicole that you've hired some investigators, Buckingham, and you heard they were really good. Neglected to mention that you worked with some of these guys before. That apparently didn't come into into the discussion, nor did when we met the investigators, nor did they disclose that. What was the big secret? Why wouldn't anyone disclose a relationship there? No one's been able to answer that either, even though our lawyer has brought that forward as a question. No one answered that question. Anyhow, things go on. It wasn't just that. There was more allegation. It wasn't just that meeting. Apparently, the RM staff have been keeping tabs on Nicole for a long time. They even called, I'll say the OP, the originating party, I won't name people, called all the staff into a room and said, anytime you meet with Nicole, you better, it sounds a little bit like bullying, gaslighting, whatever you want to call it, slander against the council. You can use whatever term you want. That happened. So all these allegations come forward. Things like the lingering in the coffee room, that's a famous one. There was an allegation that Mr. Trainer spoke to Nicole and told her do not post on social media anymore. And this originating person overheard that conversation and listed it as, oh, that's disrespectful to the Reeve that Nicole didn't listen to Al. Even though Nicole did call the Ombudsman's office and confirm that she has every right to post on social media. But it was still listed as an allegation, which you did not stop. You should have said this is all fine, but no, you let that go as well. Amending an agenda before a council meeting apparently is a problem. He was sanctioned for that as an allegation. Bringing a disgruntled ratepayer to a meeting. It actually was Mr. Kuzmic there. She brought him to a meeting, to a private meeting in here. And that was an allegation. She brought a disgruntled ratepayer, they called you a disgruntled ratepayer, to a meeting. It goes on and on. These allegations are outrageous. Anyhow, $50,000 later, we have a report. We get the report, first draft of the report, Friday, 4 p.m., December 20th, the weekend right before Christmas. They gave us 2 days to respond. How nice. During Christmas weekend, 2 days. Right away, we start reading this report, and it's outrageous. All these things that we said on there, all these comments are in there. And how do you even respond to comments? There's no names, there's no times, there's no events. It's like the RP was mean to staff. That was like a comment on there. How do you rebut something like that? Was mean in what way? How were they mean? Who were they mean to? When did this happen? General, is it like they threw a bunch of allegations and a bunch of witness statements into a blender and mixed them up, and somehow we have to respond to that in 2 days, nevertheless. What do? We have to hire a lawyer. You guys put us in that position. We get trying to find a lawyer over Christmas week. Good luck. And over New Year's. And plus we're scheduled to go on a work conference out of country, January 4th. We finally find a lawyer. We have to go through 2 different firms because all the list of witness statements, obviously, there's going to be some conflict of interest with lawyers if they've had previous engagements with other people. We finally get a lawyer. Nicole sends an email saying, we got a lawyer. They will be in contact. January 8th, we're out of country. We get an email from Mr. Trainer saying the investigation is closed. Lawyer doesn't have a chance to open our file yet. So the lawyer gets involved, puts a stop to that meeting. The lawyer starts communicating with Buckingham Security. 2 weeks later, and the lawyer is asking all kinds of really good questions about process. Great relevant questions like, who's making the decision on this whole thing? When do we have to rebut? How do we rebut this stuff? What's the role of the investigators? It's just that the investigators are supposed to be able to validate every witness statement. Have they been doing that? Because it doesn't look like it. We get no response from the investigators at all. Nothing. Nothing at all. What happens again, middle of January? Mr. Trainer shuts down the investigation again. No response. So once again, we get our lawyer involved and she puts a stop to that, citing a lot of legal precedents around natural rights and laws, and she never had, following your own bylaws, there was problems. So it puts a stop on it. In the meantime, in February, The designated officer changes from Al to Shauna, and it continues on until the special meeting is finally called in May 9th, I believe it is. And that's when even more crap hits the fan, when all of you, as John has mentioned, participate in this decision when you were also witnesses, once again, violating her natural rights. So we're at this point now that this has been a gong show from the beginning. We know the bylaw has to be rewritten. We're at a lot of money in lawyer fees. You guys all aren't getting along. This is just ridiculous. And I don't even know when it's going to end. No one's apologized. No one's done anything. No one's reached out to Nicole and say, you know what? I'm sorry for what happened. Can you tell me your story? The community's behind her. I don't think the rest of you are, which is ridiculous. You guys are all on council. Aren't you working together to try and find a resolution to this? I don't even understand. Anyhow, I just wanted to come and just say a few things like this. I'll echo John and Ben's concerns that this needs to be wrapped up and resolved. I think you, Tim, not formally withdrawing that motion is ridiculous. Cowardly move, holding this over Nicole for no apparent reason.
Please address your comments to myself.
Sorry. For Mr. Bro to not withdraw this motion formally is ridiculous. That was kind of the first step of making reconciliation amongst this council, and he wouldn't even do that. And as Ben says, he doesn't even really know what the accusations are. Well, I know what they are. I believe I know what they are. No one really knows because the motion hasn't been made forward. And it seems like an extremely minor infraction. So if you guys are going to set the precedent that any minor infraction of any conflict of interest resolution requires removal from council, I expect anybody who supports that motion to immediately stand up and resign when that motion does come forward, if it ever comes forward. I don't know. I went off script, so I don't even know what I'm talking about. But I think I said enough. Probably my 10 minutes are up. I thank you for the opportunity to come here. Does anybody have any questions? Comments? Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're down to Alan and Colleen Jorgensen. Hi, just come up to the up to here, please. Yeah.
We'll try to be quick there so we can get home and combine that rye. I said, we'll try to be quick so you can get home and combine that rye. It looks like the sun is going to come out the next few days.
Well, maybe not. Isn't that the way it should be? The woman talks and the man listens. So we're here today. We've had an ongoing issue that I imagine all of you are aware of. We've had several ongoing issues. I'm pleased to announce that some of these issues are now being resolved finally. And so before you this morning, all I want to talk about basically is acquired rights. And I also want to talk about the business that is on the land, on the land at present, and the process that took place to establish their zoning and their business practices. So in acquired rights, we purchased this property in 2003. It was rezoned to commercial in 2004. And throughout the years, we have had numerous businesses upon this land who have operated, as you're aware. And we've also operated on this land. It was originally agriculture. We built the building and we established a business on that land as well. So each tenant has operated under permitted uses within the zoning bylaws at the time of their lease. So the land has always remained bare without construction or changes to its physical use. And the RM has been aware throughout the years of all of these operations that have taken place. For 20 years, they have been aware. Now, all of a sudden, we run into problems in 2023. And we're really confused because every time somebody came onto the land, we contacted the RM office and we said to them, this is what's going on. And they would say to us, you're within permitted zoning and you're good to go. But all of a sudden now I'm being told I don't have permit, I'm not under jurisdiction, I can't do this any longer. So in 2023, I am informed by a staff member that a business is on my land, they're not zoned for this, and they essentially are going to remove my tenant. So, of course, that makes me really confused, like what is going on after 20 years we've done this, like what is happening. So at that time on May 3rd and 4th, and there is an amendment because I type fast and I guess I got it in the wrong key, because in your file it says May 6th and 7th, but it was actually May 3rd and 4th. And I get on the phone and I have a discussion and they say to me, what have you done on your land over the last 20 years? And so I say, well, we've done lots of things. We've run our own business. We've done lay down yards. We've done, lay down yards.
24 different people on there.
Yeah, like we've done lots of things. There is never a discussion with me about what my present business does. I've never sat down with the planning department, never had a discussion about that business. And then all of a sudden on May 5th, and I've got the letter, it says, we have decided,
Upon further review, we've decided that you have a storage yard and they can't be there anymore.
And they can't be there anymore. And so I need to apply for discretionary use. So we are very compliant people. We farmed for 40 years. Let's just fix this. So we decide, okay, we'll apply for discretionary use under a storage yard. But for 2 days after that, I argued. I contacted my counselor. I said, no, they're not a storage yard. They're not operating. They're all across Canada. They have 50 plus yards all across Canada. This business goes out for emergency services. So if the RM of Edenwold has a power outage with the increase of storms, it's this company you're going to call to go out and lay the mats so the SAS power can go on and fix the lines. But yet they're a storage yard. They're an operating full-fledged commercial business operating across Canada in 50 plus yards. But yet in the RM of Edenwold, they're a storage yard. So I can't get through anybody in the RM of Edenwold. So I comply. Okay, we'll get the discretionary use permit. We'll do this thing. We're subjected to a public meeting. I fill out an application for a company that it actually, I've been informed in email that it's the tenant with the authorization of the owner. I don't even know how to answer questions about this company. I just lease it to them. So then that's good. We're good to go. But in the background is the other issue of the noise that's going on and the complaint that is coming in about the noise. So I'm not going to address that issue because We have,
It's been resolved.
it's been
Leave
resolved.
that alone. Yeah.
But the issue over what this company does and what my natural rights are and what the common law says is that I am entitled to continue because the RM of Edenwold has been aware for 20 years of what has been going on my property. Now, you can't tell me all those times I went into the RM of Edenwold and nobody ever pulled to see if I had a development permit. Now, I've been told that many papers have been lost in the move from Balgoni to this office. And I can attest to that because I've requested my file. And there are many papers missing out of my file that I have from 2004 and onward. So obviously papers have gone missing. Now, where is the missing development permit? Either you guys were negligent for 20 years, that you didn't have one, or I had a development permit when all the times, and one company that went in that property, Bannister, and Alan went in the office and they said to him, you're good to go. You don't need it.
You don't need one, but Bannister needs one because they had 22 mobile structures on there. So they
Right.
needed a permit only because of the structures. That was the only time.
Right. So now I'm going to acquired rights. What are my rights here after 20 years? According to the Planning and Development Act of 2007, non-conforming use means lawful specific use, and I think you guys received these, I hope. That being made of land or a building or intended to be made of land or of a building lawfully under construction or with respect to which all required permits have been issued at the date a zoning bylaw or any amendment to a zoning bylaw affected the land or building becomes effective. Well, that was back in 2004. That on the date a zoning bylaw or any amendment to the zoning bylaw becomes effective does not, or in the case of a building under construction or with respect to which all required permits have been issued, will not comply with the zoning bylaws. Now, the argument sort of coming back is that I need a permit. And you know what? I'm not in dispute of that. Of course I need a permit. I'm not arguing that point. My point is this land, the land, there is no building on it. The land is non-conforming. It is being used for the same purpose it did back in 2004, 5, 6, and all the way up to the present time. So you guys have been aware of this, this activity. Now, under the Planning and Development Act, Section 89, a use or intensity of use of land or a building or structure that was lawfully commenced before the enactment of a bylaw or amendment that makes that use non-conforming may continue. This clause protects existing lawful uses, even if bylaws change later. The law does not require a development permit to prove that the use was lawful, only evidence that it was in compliance with the bylaw or the zoning. That is all a development permit does, is you're allowed to function on the zoning that is given to the land. Now, we don't know what or how RMs operated, maybe some of you guys do, before 2007. We don't know what went on, what was going on, but the absence of a permit or development permit does not negate that the use was legal and approved. The RM's knowledge and acceptance of the operations for decades supports that the use was lawful. Now, the RM at any time would have stepped in if I didn't have the requirements, and they would have stepped in and said, whoa, 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 you got to get a development permit here. But at no time did this happen until 2023. So this parcel of land is consistent and uninterrupted as the list I've given you goes for the operations on the land and the leases that I've had with various people. And it must be understood that Alan and I, mostly him, is operating on the land and he is doing business, as was the case in May of 2023 when we received the first noise complaint. Saskatchewan case law recognizes that longstanding unchanged uses qualify for acquired rights protection. Now, we have to be established that this is the land usage that's non-conforming, not the business upon the land. And even the business upon because the land usage isn't changing, it doesn't change if new businesses come onto the land. It doesn't change it.
Let me elaborate on that too. That is our business, renting the land. It's like going into a storage yard and a guy rents for a semi-trailer and a camper. Well, this guy moves out, the other guy moves in. They don't have to change. That's what we do. That is the business there, is renting it to renters. Like anybody that needs a space to rent, we rent, you know?
Yeah, like the land usage is non-conforming. We don't have a building on that property. This is all the land is used for. The business transactions coming on and off have no relevance. Now, sometimes people get confused because they go, well, you had to have a building, you had to be operating a consistent business there. No, I just have to ensure that the land usage hasn't changed. And it has, to this date, never changed in its usage.
The business is renting out the land. That's
Yes.
their business, renting out the land. And I'm terrible at explaining things. But yeah, like a rental yard, when somebody pulls something else and somebody else backs into that stall, they don't have to get different permits. And that's what people do on our land. That is our business, to accommodate people that need for, like, sometimes 2 months, sometimes, like one guy's been there for 13 years, I think, since.
Right. And as for the missing development permit, and Paige told me on June 12th that if I had just one permit in my file, I would be good to go. But I didn't. And I don't know who retains the information in relation to this. But in municipalities, section 111, the administrator shall take charge of and safely keep all books, documents, and records of the municipality that are committed to his or her charge. Now, unfortunately, we haven't really had a lot of communication in relation to this, but I'm not in dispute, never have been in dispute, and Paige will cite you, like I listed them, she'll cite you these pieces, 3.51, 62.1, 63, and 80 and 89. She's going to cite them to you. I need a development permit. Yes, sirree, I do. But I had one, I believe, because for 20 years you never acknowledged I didn't have one. And now all of a sudden you say I don't have one. So then when this all transpires, somebody decides for us, we never sat down with the planning department, somebody decides for us that this company is this. I never agreed to that.
And that's why it took us a year to get this put through. Like, we were here different times, it took us a year, and we just want to clear this up so next time we don't have to do this again.
So,
It took a whole year to get this.
right. So now I've got a company on my property who's got the wrong permit. Like they're not a storage yard. They're not using the land for a storage facility. They are using it as a full-fledged business. Just because they use mats instead of tractors down the road that are parked in somebody's yard doesn't mean that it's not equipment, that it's not the equipment they use for their business. So now you've got to go over to John Deere and call them a storage yard because they got a bunch of tractors all parked around there, or McDougall Auction. Tell them they're a storage yard. No, they're a business, as is this company. So what should have been done is we should have sat down with the planning department, had a discussion, which I tried to get going. Then what should have happened, the recognition of this company as who they are and what they do should have been established. And then under the Planning and Development Act of 2007, 62(2), if a person applies for a development permit with respect to a development or use described as a permitted use by the zoning bylaws, the development officer shall, if the application conforms to the zoning bylaw, issue me a development permit. That did not happen here.
That should have been a 10-minute job.
This whole escapade for 27 months has been unreasonable in its application and how it was handled. And no matter how many times I called to find resolution, nope, nope. The answer was nope, you're not doing this. Nope, you're not doing this. So even when I get the discretionary use permit, the list of things that I'm required to do on that permit is unreasonable. It's unattainable. Now, what does that tell me? That tells me that somebody wants to remove my tenant from my property and get rid of them. It's unattainable. So, Mr. Reeve, I had a meeting with you and my counselor and the staff, and I said, here, let's resolve this. I'm not in dispute of a permit, I need one. But this has been handled in the wrong way. So thank you very much that we resolved that issue again. And we proceed on and we're happy, okay, we got what we wanted, but we really didn't. But we're willing to compromise and we move on. And then the other issue accelerated. So that, because that issue has now been resolved, I'm not going to speak to that. But I think that you want to find quick resolution, right? So do we. My husband has gone above and beyond to mitigate between the company, the RM, and anybody else that has been involved. We have missed things to run down here for meetings after meeting after meeting, and all we wanted, because we're pretty reasonable, is a compromise and want to find resolution. So today, this issue, and I want it addressed because I have to move into the future. And we have put our land up for sale now. We do want to sell it, but in the meantime, I have to still deal with these issues, and I want to find resolution. And that's.
And can I speak about selling the land? If anybody here knows anybody who wants to buy, like I'm 68 in a couple of days, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to run back and forth. But anybody that knows anybody wants to buy a piece of commercial land, if you get a fair appraisal on it, I'll sell it. I sell it to you for 75% of that fair appraisal. Yep. Anybody who knows.
That's how desperate.
Not desperate, but I want to sell it. I'm too old to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're reasonable. We've been in business,
I'll
both of him and I have worked since we were 14. And we've worked hard.
That doesn't matter.
And so
We don't
but we're reasonable, honest people. And just let's come to the table and let's just have a discussion.
Like anytime there's a problem there, I'd like to be notified. I'll rectify it the best I can. And, yeah. But anyway,
So that's it. Thank
I'd
you
really
very
like to
much.
sell my land.
Do you have any questions about it?
Carmen, any questions at all? No.
And
No,
thank you,
thanks.
Carmen.
Thanks.
She worked hard and thank you, Shauna, for talking with us and everybody for listening to us. Yeah,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're up to bank reconciliations.
There's no unusual reconciling items, just the outstanding deposits and payments and the payroll reconciliation on there.
Okay, any questions on the bank reconciliations? Motion to acknowledge them as presented?
I can do that. That the July 2025 bank reconciliations be acknowledged as presented.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried.
And then I have my report on the July financials. So on the revenue side, we had 80,000 for our dust control billing, 24,000 in wastewater connection fee distribution, 48,000 non-cash gain on sale of machinery and equipment, and then we had 28,000 in interest revenue, 6,000 of which was non-cash on outstanding accounts receivable, and then 22,000 was actual cash interest on our cash and investment balances. On the expense side, we issued the 2025 recreation grants totaling 64,000, and council approved other municipal grants of 13,000. I've summarized the expense items over budget as of the end of the month. Currently, we're sitting at 96,000 out of 18.8 million total cash budget, so less than 1% on budget overages, and administration is managing these overages with savings in other accounts. Our equipment and machinery repairs as of the end of July is currently sitting at about 191,000, which is 67% of total budget. So that's pretty much on track for 7 out of 12 months of the year. I've summarized where the capital projects are sitting as of the end of the month. And then on the statement of financial position side, our cash position was 62,000 higher than the end of June due to cash collections being more than payments made during the month. Our municipal taxes receivable was 61,000 lower than the end of June due to taxes collected, partially offset by interest added on to outstanding accounts. And our other receivables balance was 189,000 lower than the end of the month, mainly due to collection of the Q2 utility billing.
Thank you. Any questions on the statement of financial activities?
I actually do have one, Sharon. I think it's just a bit of an oversight on the, keep going, down, there. At the bottom there, the over budget is 93,216, but the verbiage says 96,000.
Sorry, just a typo.
Okay, thank you.
All right, motion to accept the financial activities as presented. Nicole.
That we acknowledge the statement of financial activities and the financial position for July 2025 as circulated and presented.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? Questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion? Motion is carried. Okay, looking for a motion for a 15-minute recess. Nicole? All in favor? Motion is carried. We'll call the meeting back to order. And we're down to the Waterworks Financial Review and Capital Strategy. And it's my understanding Clark has downloaded his responsibility to Sarah.
Yeah, this is the financial side of things, so I can take this one. So we have to do this annual financial overview for the previous year once we receive the audited numbers. So this is the 2024 Municipal Waterworks reporting. So essentially, we just need to report our revenues versus our expenses. And so we've done that on an aggregate basis. So including all of our expenses, our waterworks revenue covered only 35% of the expenses for 2024. However, in the explanation, I've explained that that's mainly due to the 3.6 million or about 67% of total expenses that relate to the wastewater expansion capital project, which is financed through our sewer reserves and the loan financing that we acquired and will be recovered in future with new sewer connection fees. So I've also put in the ratio excluding that WCRM item just to give a better picture of what our sole utility operations look like. And so when we just look at that piece, our revenue to expense ratio is 1.04. And the goal is to have that ratio as close to 1 or 100% of expenses covered by revenue. So excluding that item that's separately financed for the wastewater project, we're right on track with our revenue to expense items. And then a requirement is to report what our reserves are sitting at. So we have our opening reserve balance was 5.9 million for the year. We pulled 2.2 million out of reserves to cover the utility deficit relating to that wastewater project. So that leaves our reserve balance as about 3.7 million at the end of the year. And this information has to be reported to the government by September 1st. So we're bringing that to council to approve today. And then the second item is to do the rate policy and capital investment strategy. And so you report what your utility rates were for the previous year. So these are all set by our utility bylaws. So I've just summarized what our bylaw rates are and then given a brief history of how we got to these rates and how they were set by council. And then at the bottom of the second page, I worked with the engineering and public works department to do a forward look at what we expect our utility projects to look like over the next 5 years. So all of the items have been summarized for water infrastructure and sewer infrastructure. And this is just the best estimate of this capital forecasting that we can do at this time. But some of these items will be coming to council in the 2026 budget deliberations here in the fall. So with all that being said, we have to do a motion to get these two items approved. And then once we have council approval, we'll submit this to the government for our annual reporting.
Thank you. Did you bring that up, Karen? So looking for a motion so we can discuss further. Karen.
That we approve the water and sewer works rate policy and capital investment strategy. And further, we approve the 2024 Waterworks financial overview as required by the municipal regulations, Part 8, Sections 50 to 55, attached to and forming part of these minutes.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? So basically, sir, in layman's terms, if we didn't have the WCRM 158 expansion, we're in good shape.
Yeah, we've done a really good job forecasting our rates so that we don't collect too much revenue, that we're kind of overshooting what our rates should be, but we're also on track to make sure that we're covering our operating expenses very well.
Perfect.
Can you just go down to what we can expect to infrastructure that we expect to do over the next coming years? I really like that summary. I just want to, I don't know, maybe Clark, you can speak to it. The development of the North Zener Aquifer Water Well Desktop Study Pump Test. Can you sort of speak to what that is and what it would be for?
I will try and do a brief summary. So the Water Security Agency has contacted all the municipalities in the area that draw from the South Zener Aquifer, just indicating that in the long term, future exploration of water resources should look outside of that aquifer to the north or the east. Zener aquifer. So that's all part of the Zener aquifer, but they have little imaginary lines that they've drawn up that are kind of have some hydraulic boundary between them. So we've worked with our engineering company, Becky Hydrogeologists, to kind of determine what our next steps forward are. They're of the belief that this is a regional problem and a regional solution needs to be found. So it's not going to be the arm of Edenwold on our own investigating where our next well supply is going to come from. Rather, it should be a WSA Saskwater-led initiative that we contribute towards to help investigate where their next sources of water are going to be, if it's even needed to go out of the South Zener. Becky is under the impression that's not proved yet. There may be some pump testing done that says the yield of the South Zener is actually bigger than WSA believes, and that long-term planning, we may still be able to use the South Zener. So that's what that money is set aside for. It's for engineering work, pump testing to kind of prove out the yield of these aquifers.
Thank you.
Other questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, Rod, we're down to the engineering and public works report.
Yeah, good morning, Council. Mowing's pretty much ongoing here with all the weekly rains that we've been getting. The grass is growing quite fast. In town here, we finished with the stop bars and the crosswalks are all painted. We did some patching in the country residential. Still got some pothole patching to do here in Emerald Park in the next couple of weeks here. We've sent out our forestry mulcher to a lot of dirt roads where trees have grown in for farmers to get their combines into different areas, different restrictions and stuff like that, just due to overgrowth. We're also going to start blading a lot of the dirt roads here in preparation for harvest as well. Traffic control signage. Civic addressing signs, not impressed with our subcontractor. He only installed 56 signs in July. We seem to be playing a lot of phone tag, whatever, trying to see where he's at and where he's going to, but I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on him to try to up his production a little bit. We got our windscreens just right after the last council meeting, put those up. The pickleball fence, the top rail, there's exposure to the fence, so we're going to put some guards on that. So we're just waiting for those to get shipped in here. We completed the spraying in the dog park, got rid of all those foxtails. Waiting for the meter. The 8-inch meter should be here in January. Sorry, not July. Chlorine analyzer a couple months away. We thought we had a lot of calls for the water main on South Plains Road here, but it's really the golf course has an irrigation line that's slowly leaking. So that's kind of why we're getting a lot of cattails and a lot of weed growth on that north side. Can't seem to dry it up. Yeah, gate valve maintenance continues. B&D is finished graveling. The cold storage building, we're pretty close to getting all done the wood construction right now. So tin will start being strapped on next week, doors following that, and electrical. So should be completed by the next council meeting. So and then we cleaned up our pit from a lot of erosion that we got from spring rain sort of thing. So that's looking pretty good. And that's about it.
Couple questions for you, Rod.
Certainly.
First one is on Emerald Park Road, there is a culvert that's pretty much just crushed completely. So I don't think it's capable of moving water. Do you want me to, I can drop you a pin. Sorry.
Yeah, that'd be, yeah, we got
it's just crushed completely. It's right before the signs on the way over here. I'll drop you pins so you know exactly where it is. I can send you a picture. So there was that.
Okay, sure.
And then I just was wondering about where we're at with the sidewalk extension by the pickleball courts. So I know that it was, I'm just shutting my phone off here. I know that you guys had staked off where the sidewalk extension will be. And I'm just for an update, it's my understanding, are you just waiting for some contractors or where are you guys at with that extension?
No, we're waiting for approval from Enbridge right
Okay.
now. Yeah, so we're still waiting approval from them.
Okay.
So the local guy or their guy who does all of their stuff in the area here, he can't sign off on it. So we had to put in a formal application to Edmonton. So it's under review and yeah, just waiting for approval back from them.
Okay, perfect. I appreciate the update.
Clark, where are we on the drainage project for Kingsmere?
Still awaiting final design and tender drawings from AECOM. Yeah.
Have they started?
Yes, they have. Yeah. No, they've had to do a bit of a redesign based on the geotechnical information that came back from the drilling. So they're finalizing that. I'll get an update from them this week, and we'll provide that to council. I missed the last month end kind of update from all the capital projects, but I'll put all that together here mid-month and get that off to everyone, so everyone has an update of where all the capital projects are at.
Is there still a possibility it gets done in 2025?
Ooh. Yes.
A slim one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you.
Rod, I got a couple questions for you. On Range Road 2183, remember on our road trip, I had showed you where the west side of that chip seal road at the north entrance to Rock Point was all breaking away?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you guys were out and did all the patching and pole patching and stuff. Is that yet to come, that repair?
Yes,
Or what
yeah.
are-
Yeah, we have to get our distributor, our oil distributor working, and then we have to coordinate that so that we cut it, oil it, and then place the pavement that day. So it's just a coordination thing here. So
For that?
yeah.
for
So
that.
probably, yeah, we'll have that in the next couple of weeks here. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we got a couple areas like that. We got one over by that intersection on Kingsmere where we have to do some. So yeah, it's coming.
okay. And one other thing I had, ratepayer Dave Farden called about dust control. He's got the shingles in front of his place. And remember last year how we had said that the gravel truck or whatever dragged
Yeah, we
shingles.
accidentally
But
put some
he's-
gravel on top. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's been complaining again about how dusty it is. And I thought we had looked at maybe getting another load in there.
Yeah, we
Can I?
we possibly could. Yeah, they'll charge us now for it. So for the materials. So.
Yeah. Can I leave that with you to sort of check into it or have a look at it?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Other questions? Stan?
Yeah, this is not, it's kind of a minor one in a sense, but driving through some of the areas like parks, etc., the radiuses on the intersections I don't feel that they're large enough, and in some areas none at all. And that's why we're seeing these big, at the intersections, big holes on each corner, wheels fall in it. Every time the wheel falls in, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Seeing that our patching crew is available, can we take a look at doing some of these? And there's lots of them. I didn't record every one of them, but I felt that if we don't do something with them, they're just going to get worse. They're not going to get better. And just throwing in fill in there hasn't worked. I know it has been done in some areas and it's not working, but it would work probably if there was something put on top to keep it there. So,
Yeah.
So I know it's a bad habit of people. I'm one of them, and I like to cut corners, and so I contribute to the problem that we're having, and I was hoping we could correct it.
Yeah, we've got probably identified about 4 intersections that we want to do in town here. Yeah. So.
Just one for you, Rod. That side raised last year, this low spot when they paved between the RM office and the fire hall there, and it contributing to failure as the water pools there. Where are we at with fixing that?
Yeah, we'll wait till our contractor comes in. He's going to be doing the Bridlewood subdivision paving for us. So when he comes in, we've got a couple other things that we want him to do as well, some paving areas and stuff like that. So we'll get that all fixed up as soon as he mobilizes.
Does that include the Mission walking path?
That does.
On 624, I wondered what the status of, we're going to try to bring that possibility of paving that and stuff to council. And I know it's been kind of put on the back burner, but when do you think that we'll be seeing some numbers coming out of that?
Yeah, I'd have to check. I think I provided the last update. The engineer was looking at sometime early fall having that design and cost estimate completed. So we would have it in time for budget for 2026.
Okay.
Yeah, but that one, and again, I think that one will probably depend on funding applications, but we'll at least know the magnitude of how much it'll cost and try and phase it accordingly.
Could we also do a little bit of calculation and just see what it would cost to put shingles on for the rest of that 2 miles? In saying that, with all the rain events that we've had, I drive that road a lot of times 4 and 6 times a day. And I tell you, with all the gravel going on it now, with the crown decent and everything, it's good. And but it's amazing when you come up to that shingle site, and even if you've had 2 inches of rain on it, it's good, and you can notice the big difference on it and stuff. I would kind of like to just get a rough estimate of how much product we would need to do that 2 mile stretch, which is one of the busiest in the RM, that 2 miles, as far as traffic counts go and stuff. Just so we've got that, because I think hard surfacing it is going to be out of reach for us. But if we do the rest of it in the shingles, and our pilot projects have seemed to it seems like it's working out. Yeah, you do get some dust and everything from them when it's real dry out, but when it gets real wet out, they hold together very well too. So I would kind of like to see us just do some rough estimates of how much material we would need and the approximate cost on that material.
Yeah, I agree, Tim. That's a good idea. And I think we'll put together a couple other options for dust-free surfaces as well. Could be some like MG30 or some other product. Like I know Sherwood's doing some of that on some of their roads as well. So we'll take a look at maybe 2 or 3 different options and come back with costing for, again, for budget time moving into 2026.
Yeah. What's the other? Oh, do you know what the coating that they used on number 46 highway? You know how they did that coating on top?
Yeah, that was microsurfacing.
That was microsurfacing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did a nice job on stuff. Would that be something that we could entertain on some of our roads? Instead of doing, that if we'd do a microsurfacing on some of the ones that are starting to get these hairline cracks and stuff, and get another 10 years out of them or whatever.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. We did do it in Stone Point, and it's something that we took a look at not completing for certain projects, like where a lot of our country residential subdivisions, we found that microsurfacing isn't going to give us because there isn't the strength underneath the roadway there to begin with. You really do, like Highway 46 has a lot of strength. It's built up with probably at least 2 feet of granular and probably 4 to 6, 8 inches of asphalt there already. So that's where that really helps. It's a wearing course, right? It'll eventually wear out, but it saves the pavement and the structure underneath. So there's some good applications for it. Probably some more of our access roads that are holding up really well structurally, but starting to wear out. Some of our chip sealed ones, that might be an option for some of those, but definitely you saw how fast it went down. They don't compact it after, they just lay it flat and along they went. Like they did that whole stretch of 46 from Balgony to Regina in a week. yeah, went really fast, and we all drive it a lot, so we can see kind of how it holds up with the amount of traffic and truck traffic that they see on there too. Like the one thing we were worried about is how much it squishes, not very structural, but I think there's enough in there, and especially with the structure underneath, for it to hold up again, case by case in certain situations.
Yeah. Well, I just came back from Saskatoon yesterday, and I was amazed how many different areas that they had put that microservicing on and stuff.
Yeah, I'm seeing highways do a lot more of it. A lot of the cities have been doing it for a while. Moose Jaw does it extensively, but Regina and Saskatoon are doing more of it as well, for more of their road rehab and yeah.
Other questions for Clark or Rod?
I guess one thing with the rural civic addressing, Rod, I'd sent along that concern from that one ratepayer, but I too, when I'm seeing the numbers from July, that's causing me some heartburn, because I think Tim and I are like, let's get this done. So if there's something that we can do to assist in that process, that would, happy to help in that if needed.
Great. Karen, could you bring up the motion for looking for a motion to accept the Public Works report as presented? Well, you don't have it? Okay.
I'll wing it. And we accept the Public Works report as presented.
Thank you, Tim. Any questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion's carried. Rod, down to the July water report.
Yep. First month, we've had a decrease in water usage, 2.5% less going out this year to the distribution system, about 5% on the raw water coming in. So the money we spent on getting the guy from Tonka filter come in and help us with that filter is running excellent right now, top, just performing the way it's supposed to be. We had to make some adjustments. Wasn't probably run for the 2.5 prior years that I was here, but it's running tip top right now. So everything's really good.
Good. Questions on the water report? A motion to accept the monthly water report as presented. Stephen?
That we accept the July 2025 monthly water report as presented, with its noted that there was a curb stop leaking when a contractor hooked up the new service to a property on July 8th, 2025.
Where was that, Rod?
Yeah, I believe it was second last house on Fairway Road, right by Huber, sort of thing. So, yeah. So the contractor, when they were excavating to do the service connection, I believe they bumped it or something like that. But it was a slow leak, sort of thing. Because we were still under pressure, we didn't have to issue a PWA for that.
Yeah.
So it was good. But those are typical. I think sometimes you just bump it with a piece of equipment and that compression fitting loosens off just a little bit. Yeah, it's
okay.
Nothing too serious.
All right. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. 9.3 Grid 624 Road Improvement Tender.
Okay, so this was taken to the committee last week, I believe it was, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago. It's been a while. On July 30th. So we reviewed the tenders, opened the tenders. We had 4 bidders. The low bidder was Synergy Construction from Regina. They're sort of a general contractor, actually, or like a multidiscipline guy. They do development all the way to landscaping projects. But the tender price of $2.238 $100 is over budget. So the committee reached out to Sean and I to reach out to SARM to see if we could cancel the tender and retender it later on. I spoke with a representative from SARM regarding the RG funding, and the funding is in place for construction to take place in 2026, but we have to award the project before December 31st of 2025. So that is one of the stipulations in the agreement that we have with them right now. The recommendation from the committee was to cancel the project and retender it at a later date. That later date's going to have to be somewhere around mid to late November with an award before Christmas. So we'll have our last council meeting of 2025. We will have to award the project at that time. Maybe not a bad idea at that time as well, because at least we'll know going into our budget what that cost will be. But the consultant kind of thought that our prices were quite a bit higher than some of the tenders they closed in the last couple of weeks previous to that in different areas of the province. So they don't know why it was so high. But it could be just the region and timing and that sort of thing. So a lot of these contractors might be busy right now and may not have availability to do the project, or it's very tight for them to do it, sort of thing. So if we retender it in November, close it in mid-December and award it, I'm hoping that we'll have cheaper prices then, because the project will be dedicated to be constructed in 2026. So
Just a comment on the report. The recommendation from the committee says it will be retendered in 2026, and I think that should be 2025.
that's correct, yes.
Any other questions for Rod on this?
How much money was coming back from SARM then on it?
500,000.
Yeah, the funding is up to $500,000 on everything, not including asphalt. So the full cost of asphalt, whatever that is going to be the responsibility of the municipality.
Looking for a motion per the recommendation of the committee, changing it to 2025. Stan?
Tell me, my screen doesn't work, but I'm taking it off the iPad.
You broke it.
I broke it this morning, under stress. That the RM reject all bids and notify SARM that this project, Grid 624 Rural Road improvements, will be reattended in 2025.
Questions on the motion?
Do you want the month on there? Just 25.
Okay, questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, down to RM business. The Hamlet of Crawford Estates annual meeting minutes and budget.
So annually, we have to get the meeting minutes and budget from the Hamlet of Crawford Estates and have that approved by council and submitted to the government. And then we also need to acknowledge the municipal tax allocation for the organized hamlet. So historically, since the inception of the hamlet, it's always been 70%. And that was the amount that we had budgeted in our budget for 2025. So we're just looking for a motion to acknowledge receipt of their annual budget and meeting minutes for 2025, and then to do that allocation for the municipal taxes.
Okay.
That we acknowledge receipt of the Hamlet of Crawford Estates annual meeting minutes dated July 21st, 2025, and a copy of their 2025 budget. And further, that in accordance with subsection 69-1 of the Municipalities Act, we acknowledge the municipal tax allocation for the organized hamlet of Crawford Estates is 70%.
Thank you. Questions on the motion? Okay. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, 10.2, the Town of White City proposed boundary alteration request.
right, so we received from the town a request to consider, sorry, let me start over. This report is for council to consider the proposed boundary alteration request from the town of White City for the southwest and southeast 1717 west of the 2nd and Block A, Plan 101742320 in the northeast of 1717, and to provide a complementary resolution to proceed with the boundary alteration process. So the town provided notice to the RM of its intention to proceed with the process to alter its municipal boundary to include these lands and any roadways as negotiated between the town and the RM. So the town has stated that the proposed boundary alteration is the lands are located to the east of the town, which are identified as a growth direction in the 2015 boundary alteration agreement between White City and the RM. It's requested by the landowner. It is intended to be serviced by extension of existing municipal services provided by the town and demonstrates the substantiated need for land for growth and alignment with plans. If council passes the proposed motion, the RM and town will enter into negotiations to establish the terms of the boundary alteration agreement. So as part of the boundary alteration process, the town must conduct a public meeting to receive submissions to the proposed restructuring. That public meeting has been scheduled for Tuesday, September 2nd at 6:30 p.m. at the White City Council chambers. That public notice was published in the August 8th issue of the Quad Town Forum. Once the RM has received the feedback received from the public meeting, council will consider if they wish to pass a complementary resolution to give final approval of the boundary alteration request and authorize the REEV and CAO to sign the boundary alteration agreement. Other options would be council may choose not to proceed with the boundary alteration process. So the recommended motion is before you. Now it's similar to White City's, except in the second clause about the negotiations. We have added an additional part where it says that the RM and town will enter into negotiations to establish the terms of the boundary alteration agreement and that a complementary resolution in support of the application be provided, conditional upon the outcome of the public engagement process and the terms agreed upon within the boundary alteration agreement. So the recommendation is to approve, but that's for council's discussion.
I can make the motion to start us off in discussion.
Okay, it's a long one.
It is. It's my division though. That the RM of Edenwold number 158 approves the formal boundary alteration request from the town of White City for the lands legally described as southwest 1917 west of the 2nd, and southeast 1917 west of the 2nd, and block A, plan 101742320 in northeast 1817 west of the 2nd, all currently located in the RM of Edenwold number 158 as the proposed development is located to the east of the town, identified as a growth direction in the 2025 boundary alteration agreement between White City and the RM of Edenwold number 158, is requested by the landowner, is intended to be serviced by extension of existing municipal services provided by the town of White City, and demonstrates the substantiated need for land for growth and alignment with plans. That the RM of Edenwold number 158 enter into negotiations with the town of White City to establish the terms of a boundary alteration agreement, and that a complementary resolution in support of the application be provided conditional upon the outcome of the public engagement process and the terms agreed upon within the boundary alteration agreement, and that administration proceed with the boundary alteration process as identified in the Municipalities Act.
Thank you for that short motion. Discussion. I've got a question. As far as compensation, that'll be negotiated obviously through administration. However, does that come back to council for final approval before agreement is signed?
Yes, that would happen.
The agreement will come back to council for approval. Yeah.
And
other questions?
Majority of the time, it's 22% of assessed value. Is that correct?
I believe that's historically what the compensation has been between the town and the RM. I'm not sure.
Yes, 22.5 times. Yeah.
And that's 22.5 times our current tax.
That's correct.
Other questions? Okay, call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Okay, 10.3 Rail Safety Week Proclamation, September 15th to the 21st.
Okay, this report's be presented for council to consider to pass a resolution to proclaim September 15th to 21st, 2025 as Rail Safety Week. The RM had received a request from the Canadian National Railway. They asked the RM to join them in raising awareness for this important issue by adopting the proposed proclamation. This proclamation helps communities like ours officially recognize Rail Safety Week. If this motion is passed, the RM will post the proclamation on the RM's website and on social media. Financial impacts, there is no financial impact for the RM making the proclamation. And under the strategic plan, livable community is a key area of focus. Enlist, invest, and promote community safety as a strategy to achieve this goal. Other options, council could consider not passing the resolution. Some decision history, council has passed this resolution proclaiming Rail Safety Week in last year, 2024, and then in 2021.
Okay. Looking for a motion for the recommendation for discussion. Stephen.
Whereas Rail Safety Week is to be held across Canada from September 15th to the 21st, 2025, whereas 261 railway crossing and trespassing incidents occurred in Canada in 2024, resulting in 68 avoidable fatalities and 58 avoidable serious injuries. Whereas educating and informing the public about rail safety, reminding the public that railway right-of-way are private property, enhancing public awareness of the dangers associated with highway rail grade crossings, ensuring pedestrians and motorists are looking and listening while near railways and obeying established traffic laws, will reduce the number of avoidable fatalities and injuries caused by incidents involving trains and citizens. And whereas Operation Lifesaver is a public-private partnership whose aim is to work with the public rail industry, governments, indigenous communities, police services, media, and others to raise rail safety awareness. Whereas CN and Operation Lifesaver have requested Council adopt this resolution in support of an ongoing efforts to raise awareness, save lives, and prevent injuries in communities, including our municipality. It is hereby resolved to support National Railway Safety Week to be held from September 15th to the 21st, 2025, and that we sign the attached proclamation and officially recognize Rail Safety Week 2025.
Thank you, Stephen. You get the record for the longest motion today. Any questions on the motion?
I just have a suggestion, assuming it passes, that when Lee communicates this out, a good piece of, did you know, would be how many rail crossings we have within the RM, because I think that's a significant number.
We have that information in hand?
No, but in terms of if we're promoting rail safety, one of the ways when we're going out and promoting this is to include how many railway crossings we actually have within the municipality that we have. Yes.
If we have that information, we'll definitely add that in the posting.
I actually read that not too long ago, what the actual number was. I can't remember where I seen it posted, but it was just recently posted how many railway crossings we do have in this RM. Yeah.
All right. Any other questions on the motion? All in favor? Motion is carried. Down to correspondence. That was in the package. Looking for motion to accept or acknowledge the correspondence as presented. Nicole?
That the following correspondence be hereby acknowledged and filed. Emerald Park Fire Department and Pilot Butte Fire Department fire call July 23rd, 2025. Chrono Fire Department fire call August 3rd, 2025. And White Butte RCMP Detachment August 23rd, 2025 event.
Thank you. Any questions on the motion? I just got one on the, I can't remember on the RCMP detachment. Was there any invites with that event?
It was just the letter advising of the event taking place. We haven't received any formal invitation as such, but
I think it's just a public event and anyone could and should attend.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on the motion? Tim,
with reading that too, you know, I kind of like the idea of with the little kids and stuff, the fingerprinting thing for the little kids is kind of a unique thing too, that parents can take the initiative with it and stuff, and that they retain that kit and everything too. But it's it's just something also. I think if this does pass, we should try to get it out on voids or whatever, and try to play it up a little bit more.
other questions? Okay. All in favor? Motion is carried. Hey, we're down to committee reports. And I think we've covered all the committee stuff on through the meeting, I believe.
Yeah, I think the two reports that went to the planning committee will be coming to the August 26th meeting, so it'll be coming forward. Yeah.
Okay. So planning and development committee is there. So we're down to council roundtable. Carmen, we'll start with you today.
I had sent out a summary of the meeting that we had with our MLA Brad Crossfeller and Minister Merritt, Ministry of Highways. So if you haven't had the opportunity, excuse me, to look at that, I would encourage you to do so. It was really good conversation with the other municipalities that were there. And I think it was alluded to, and I took the opportunity to express our interest in having a high school and more elementary schools. So it seems like there's something, he alluded to more good news coming soon kind of thing. So of course, don't really know what that entails, but obviously our MLA is strongly supporting the region. The other thing I was going to make mention of, part of the White City Library Board, I'm looking to bring in an arborist to speak in between the town of the White City Library, Balgonie, and Pilot Butte sometime this fall, given that we have so many trees in our region at large that are well established, whether they be in shelter belts or within the urban centers, that we need to start managing those and helping our residents to do so. That's it.
Thank you. Stan?
Not much. I was also at that meeting that Carmen was at, and one thing and she gave a good report, and there's that on there if I want to add anything. I thought I'd add it today because as we've been talking about 624 and the high cost, one thing that the minister did say that we should take some of those projects to the department, because if they're in the area, they will assist us on the paving. So I think you heard that too, didn't you? And so with that in mind, I think that should be brought forward to the Department of Highways or whoever it is. I'm not sure who we should contact or we go through our MLA or whatever.
But he was quite sincere about it, and he's also working with Arm Sherwood on doing some paving. And sounds like, I don't know what the cost would be or whatever, but maybe we should take a serious look at it. Okay. Oh, and I'm going on holidays. Okay, just throw that in.
Going on holidays and going to meet somebody.
Yes, okay. Yes, I'm a new grandpappy, and I, as of the first part of August, and I'm going to go down to visit him and have a picture taken of the 4 generations. I'm proud.
That's nice.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Nicole.
I have a couple things. The first one, I just wanted to mention, not an RM event, but I did want to mention the White City Emerald Park Community Golf Tournament was this weekend, and I'm mentioning it because it's an important event in the community, and the RM donated 4 toques and 4 rain gauges as a door prize. But more importantly than that, the reason I wanted to mention it is because we raised over $2,500 for the Lincoln's Life Mattered Foundation, which supports youth mental health. And with the over $2,500 that was raised at that event, it was a sold out event, by the way. The Lincoln's Life Mattered Foundation is able to sponsor 20 people 75% of what it costs for 20 people to take the mental first aid course, which helps with all suicide prevention. And some awareness that we were also told at the event, because Lincoln's Life Mattered Foundation came to speak to us because, well, we raised a lot of money for them, that they're aware of 4 youth that had recently attempted to commit suicide. And this is a really important foundation for our community, and raising money for them was just amazing because they are raising the awareness around youth mental health, suicide prevention, and helping our youth. And they have made a huge difference. So I will continue to support them with every golf tournament that we have going forward. I also wanted to mention the Southeast District had reached out to me. So I had co-hosted an event with them for the community, but anyone in the RM, anyone could have come actually. And they was to learn about grant opportunities for nonprofit organizations. And they had recently just reached out to me. They are wanting to host an event in October. It'll be another event, but this event will be a 1-day workshop. And the topic is onboarding training for working boards. So the workshop will include a couple of things. There's a lot more, but just wanted to highlight understanding boards, roles, and organizational success, roles and responsibilities of boards, structure policies, strategic planning, meeting management, conflict resolution, and Robert's Rules of Order. And I think that, this is open to all of the ratepayers and residents in the RM to learn how to effectively work and run a board effective and efficiently. So more information to come on that. I just wanted to give you guys all a heads up that it will be in October, and it'll be a 1-day event. It'll be very inexpensive, and I think that it'll be just really great for all the communities.
Do you know the location, Nicole, that's going to be held at?
Yeah, we think it'll be at the White City Community Center.
Yeah, it'd be great if you bring more information forward as it becomes available on that.
Cool. What was the name of the suicide program that you're talking about?
So this foundation is very near and dear to our community. It's Lincoln's Life Mattered Foundation. I knew Lincoln. I know his parents. Lincoln played baseball with my son, and they're very well known in our community. And their son committed suicide last year on Father's Day. And they started a foundation to raise awareness around youth mental health, support youth, raise awareness about mental health stigma, and they've made a huge difference.
Are they putting on the seminar then, or is?
No, this is 2 different things. I just wanted to mention what happened here on the weekend during our golf tournament. And this seminar for onboarding work for working boards is actually through the Southeast District. So these are just two different events.
Oh, I know. I thought there was a seminar for the youth mental health that you were talking about.
Yeah. So with the money that we raised at the golf tournament this weekend, they are able to provide training for 20 people to take the mental health first aid course. And these people will be trained to help with suicide intervention.
Who's putting that one on then?
Lincoln's Life Mattered
Lincoln Life
is,
okay.
they're actually sponsoring it. Yeah.
Thank you. Karen? Okay. Stephen?
No, just well, the one with the bush cutting, but they're doing some trimming with the roads for harvest time. And then the other one was the same ratepayer had a concern about wild horses, and you know where they're coming from, but he's apparently there's in the crops and everything up there lots. So
To give you a little bit of history on wild horses, I was the one of the young guys on council, and the other guys said don't do it, and I took the initiative, and we put our panels up, and we caught these two horses, and we or three, I guess there was three, and drove them. We had to keep them so long for in the pound, and then I drove them to Moose Jaw to auction off, and we had to pay to get it done and everything, and at the end of the scenario, I think it cost us about $3,500, and I think we at the auction, I think we got $400. So it's kind of a challenging situation, and I unfortunately, they're coming from people, and they know that they're out, but they're just not going to do anything about it. So yeah, it's tough.
Anything else, Stephen? Tim?
The only thing I have, again, I had brought up September 11th is going to be our next EMO training event. And our organizers are trying to get a head count on who all's going to be coming. And where did I put that paper now? I was hoping that we could get everybody on our call out sheet to attend at least one or two of these. Again, we're going to be having a main one come next year. I believe it's in May, I think it is. That's when the full day event's going to be, and it's going to be a full thing on it. But we're trying to have these meetings before, so that we bring people up to date on what's going to be expected if you have an op set up and everything. And so I was kind of hoping that we could get a head count today of who can attend. On our fan out sheet, myself, Karen Sahari, Al Trainer, Stan Kappenhurst, Carmen, Nicole, Karen, Rod, and Aniket. So some of our staff, I don't think they want to attend every one of them, but at least if we can get them to at least one of these, I would appreciate it. So if people could get back to me, hopefully today, so that I can give the numbers to our organizers. I had asked, I don't know, 2 meetings ago, for if we could use this office again, because it worked very well the last one we had, and we didn't have a real good turnout. We had not too bad, but it could have been better. And the sad thing was that when you looked at who all attended the last one, if we would have had an emergency, and that would have been a real situation, over half of our people that attended wouldn't have been at that in there because they're first responders. So they would have been at the scene and our numbers would have been significantly lower. So again, if I can get anybody on our call out sheet, and if for some reason that you don't want to be on or whatever, please let us know so that we can change it and put somebody on that wants to be on it. So thank you.
I'll be there as well.
And I have it on mine as well.
Anything else, Tim?
Tim, I noticed that I'm not on the call out sheet, but I've already accepted it, so I definitely will be there as well.
Okay. Darren?
All I have is that I did participate in the community golf game. I wish I would have done better, but I'm working on that. But yeah, it was fun. It was good to get out in the community and talking to everybody.
Okay. I've got a couple of things. I was invited to attend the powwow on Friday night at Standing Buffalo. So my wife and I attended that as dignitaries. We were lucky enough to, at supper time, sitting with Chief Redmond, who gave us a really good short, brief history of the Dakota people. What was interesting is I never realized that they never signed any treaties with the government of Canada on it. So they're still, in their belief, affiliated strictly with the Crown in England, and they believe that they're an independent nation. So it was really interesting meeting with him and having a good talk. And then we moved over to the powwow. The lieutenant governor was there, Minister Curing was there, and several other chiefs from around Manitoba and Saskatchewan. And so we participated in the grand entry and had all the dancers coming in and stuff. The costumes were unbelievable with it. There was over 400 dancers, and I would say at least 1,000 people in attendance on it. The only hard part was about 5 hours of standing. So it was got a little bit tiring in that, but it was very interested. They were very accommodating with it, and it was quite a interesting evening, and it was good that we were there supporting it. Next council meeting, I will be away on holidays and Stan will be on holidays. So my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, Shauna, but the acting reeve was be designated at that meeting, not now.
Yeah, if Stan is going, you can designate it at any time. You can do a motion right now designating Deputy Reeve at this meeting for August 26th. Yeah, or for the time period that you're gone.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to make that motion because I know who I'm going to pick on.
Okay.
I'd like to motion that Karen be our deputy reeve or acting reeve for the absence.
Yeah, it's the 26th. Yeah, for the 26th.
For the 26th.
Karen?
I can do my best.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be for the time period of, that's right. We'll need a deputy reeve for, be appointed as deputy reeve for until you return. Yeah.
All in favor? Motion is carried. Karen, don't break the gavel. Okay. Yeah. And as Darren said, I attended the golf tournament as well and was lucky enough to be golfing with the mayor from White City and two of the councillors. So we had a really good 4-hour chat about things, and he's very happy with how things are going with the RM and White City. So it was a double-gated thing. I didn't do as well either. I lost 3 golf balls. So it was but it was a good tournament. Nicole, good job on it. It was good, although I didn't win any prizes. So, but it was great. So that's it. Unless anybody has anything else, are we going to do a seeds training today, or were we set up for that? Okay. Uh, Yeah, she can bring it up on the screen.
Well, you can bring it up on your screen, but you need to be logged in order to receive credit. Yeah, I guess the intent was always to do one session after every council meeting. It's up to you guys if you want to skip this one. And I mean, Al will miss it.
Yeah.
Al and Stan will miss the next one.
Yeah, so.
You can still do it on your own. Like, yeah. So
Okay.
it's up to you guys.
Well, first of all, before we get that, we'll motion to adjourn.
Like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
All in favor? Motion is carried.